Jordan, and today I'm giving you guys fairy tale retellings recommendations. This video is specifically for the readathon that I'm hosting in Fairytaleathon, which I'll link the announcement video up here or down below. And basically this readathon is dedicating to fairy tales retelling specifically. I have 7 books to recommend on the fairy tale retellings, and I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite fairy tales at the end of this video, so let's get started. The first fairy tale retellings I'm going to be talking about is Beauty and the Beast retellings, and I have 3 of my recommendations as one of my recommendations, and I'm going to be talking about every one of them in a second. And the first Beauty and the Beast retelling is Hunted by Meagan Spooner. This is, of course, is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. In this one, her father goes missing, and she's a huntress, so she ends up trying to find her father, and then she runs into the beast, and then she becomes a prisoner like an actual Beauty and the Beast fairy tale. And I love this book so much. It's really good on audiobooks, so I definitely recommend this on audiobook. Plus, some of the pages in the Beast perspective is like told in like a journal entries or something, but I definitely love this, and I definitely recommend Hunted by Meagan Spooner. And the next Beauty and the Beast retelling is Lost in a Book by Jennifer Donnelly. This book came out because they're preparing for the Disney live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast. That's why I've read it, and I love it so much, and I read this during my spring break last year, and this is before I started my booktube channel, but I definitely love this book, and again, another Beauty and the Beast retelling to add to your TBR. And the last Beauty and the Beast retelling that is on the Disney list if you're a big Disney fan is The Beast Within by Serena Valentino. This is one of the Disney villains books. I don't know why they made one for the Beast, but I'm really glad that they did, because many people have like different theories about how he became the Beast, and plus I like how in the hardcovers underneath there's him as the prince. That's what I really like about it. So if you're a big Disney fan and you want to read one of the Disney villains books, you can read this as a standalone. You don't have to read them in chronological order. You can read it again. I was about to repeat myself by saying you can read this as a standalone, but you don't need to know anything that happens in the previous book, because even though they have Easter eggs that mentions other books in the series, but you can still read this as a standalone. The next fairy tale retelling I'm going to be recommending you guys is Cinderella, and I have 2 for this list, so I'll be talking about these in a second. And the first Cinderella retelling is Karela by Ashley Poston. This obviously is a retelling of Cinderella. It's a contemporary retelling of it, and I really like this. I also listened to this on audiobook, which I also would recommend, and I've read this within a few days, I think, on audiobook. I don't remember, but I think everybody should read if they're looking for fluffy contemporary, or if they want to read another fairy tale retelling, and I recommend Karela. And the last retelling of Cinderella that I'm recommending to you guys is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I'm reading the Lunar Chronicles series right now, and each of the books is different retellings of different fairy tales, and the first book is obviously about Cinderella, and she's a cyborg in this one. I love the Lunar Chronicles so much, and if you're looking for a sci-fi and you want a fairy tale retelling, I'd recommend Cinder. The next fairy tale retelling I'm recommending to you guys is actually one I don't have like multiples on this list, but is a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, which is A Curse of Darkest Gold by Elizabeth C. Barnes. I actually read this a couple of years ago, and I ended up renting it from the library before I bought my own copy, and it's obviously I just said it's a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. I definitely really like this book. I don't remember if I loved it, but I definitely want to reread this sometime. I might have a different opinion, but I still really enjoy it, and if you like Rumpelstiltskin, you would definitely read A Curse of Darkest Gold, and I think it's a really underrated book on BookTube, so I still recommend it. And the last fairy tale retelling I'm recommending to you guys is Spindle by Lexa Highligher. This is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. It was a 4-star read for me, but I'm still recommending this to anybody who's looking for a new fairy tale retelling to read. And I know the sequel just came out, which is a retelling of Cinderella, and I definitely want to read it to see if it's better than the first book, but I'm still probably going to be rereading this on audiobook. I'm not quite sure yet, but I still want to know what happens in the sequel, so I definitely recommend this to you guys if you want to read a book that has a sequel that just came out to give you a good push. So that is all for the fairy tale retellings recommendations. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and comment down below some of your favorite retellings because I want to know so I can add them to my TBR possibly. And if you want to follow me on social media, I have Facebook under Lost Reader, and I have Twitter and Instagram on Lost Reader 19. I also have Goodreads, which I'll link down below. If you don't want to miss any of my new videos, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!